Hello, parents and caregivers. Pastor Ryan here at the Source of Power for our building, because I want to be a source of empowering you, the parent and caregiver, to be the spiritual leader of your home. So let's get ready for an hour of power. But don't worry, it's not really an hour. All right, you ready to power up? Here we go, Power Hour. Welcome, parents and guardians, to Power Hour. If you can't tell, I am wearing a lot of hats. And that's because as parents and guardians, we wear a lot of hats. We take on a lot of different roles for our families, and some of those are the role of caregiver. So we wear the hat of caregiver, and we have the opportunity to provide for our families. As parents and guardians, we also wear the hat of worker, all right? And we go to work, and we have things and responsibilities, which is good. We need responsibilities. But then we also wear the hat of spiritual leader as guardians and parents. And that's what I want to focus on today, of how to be a spiritual leader in your home and how to wear that hat so you feel comfortable wearing it. For some of us, that is an uncomfortable hat to wear, especially if we aren't used to it. So one aspect of wearing this hat comfortably is having conversations of faith or about faith with your kids. So that's today's topic. We're going to jump into how can you have conversations of faith or about faith with your kids. The first thing I'd say is this, is just start small. Integrate conversations of faith into your everyday activities in your everyday life. Here's some examples, and I'll break it down by phase. So in the new baby phase, or that young infant toddler phase, definitely you're wanting to provide a nurturing and a consistent environment. That's a win, all right? Being a spiritual leader of your home and wearing that hat comfortably, provide a nurturing and a consistent environment. That's a huge step forward. But then also practically, here's what it looks like, all right? You can pray aloud with your baby at nighttime, in the morning, whatever. Let's go ahead and start that habit of praying aloud and letting them hear you. Talk to God yourself and talk to God for them and about them. All right, so pray aloud with your young child. And then you can also start by just singing songs. Sing songs while you hold them, like Jesus loves me, or he's got the whole world in his hands. These are great ways that you can already, in that new baby toddler phase, start instilling a comfortableness of having conversations, wearing this hat of a spiritual leader, and having conversations of faith, even with a young infant or toddler. Now, in the preschool phase, at this phase, your goal as a spiritual leader, you're wanting to incite wonder. Incite wonder and let them explore the wonder of God's designs around them. Designs in your family, in your home, designs in creation, designs in how our life operates with His Word, His Spirit, and our Savior Jesus. And so here's some really practical ways to do that, okay? Turn things that you want your kids to remember into songs or rhymes. I have an example from my house when we were trying to teach our young preschooler how to eat and use proper cutlery, and there's lots of spills, but he didn't want to wear a bib, we didn't want to wear a bib, so I came up with a little jingle to help him remember when he's eating. It goes something like this: when you get a spoonful, lean over your bowl. Simple as that. Those are little things you can do, songs and rhymes, to help them remember those amazing principles and things you want with, and saving you some frustration in the process to feel like you don't have to repeat yourself over and over. You just might have to be singing a song over and over. But hey, another great example is let's say out loud or around your preschooler. Let them hear you say, God, thank you for the chance to go to work today. God, thank you that my car started this morning. God, thank you that we could go on a date night or whatever. Also let them hear, God, help me. God, help me in this task at work today. God, help me in this conversation with my cousin. Whatever it is, let them start to hear that, become comfortable in wearing your hat as a spiritual leader, and let them hear you say, God, thank you, or God, help me. Another great example, if they're scared, all right, or any example, or any situation where there's a heavy emotion, all right, an example of being scared or having fear. Ask them, are you scared? And then follow up with, well, let's talk to God about it. Just a really quick intro into, let's have a faith conversation. Let's go to God about this feeling that we have. All right, another practical example of preschoolers is you can talk about or reiterate what your preschool learned at church. So many churches, many services will have something to take home for their parents. We do here as well. So take those and just recap with them. Maybe that night, read the Bible story over again that they went over, or the passage of scripture that they learned, and then kind of just continue that learning going and have a conversation with what they started on a Sunday or in a service, and then just continue that in your home environment. Another great example for preschoolers is, just like toddlers and infants, pray consistently with them. Get them in the habit of talking to God and being comfortable also going to God, as we've alluded to earlier. And the last one for preschoolers, a great practical tip and trick for having faith conversations, is read Bible stories and let them know that the Bible helps us learn how to live or how not to live. And that's the overall riding rule with this age. As they ask questions about the Bible and what's in the Bible, just let them know, hey, the Bible is a great way for us to know how God wants us to live or how we should not live. Now, for those parents and guardians with kids in the elementary phase, your goal is to provoke discovery. All right, provoke discovery and encourage their imagination, allow them to investigate, but also be ready to answer a lot of questions. They may have a lot of questions, and don't be afraid to say, I don't know. There'll be questions you may not know, but don't just leave it at, I don't know. Follow it up with, let's find out together. That's a great way to provoke that investigation and start digging in to what God has and what He's written down and what's in the Word for us. So here's some other really practical ways to provoke discovery and imagination and investigation in our elementary kids. Now, at this age, as a child, they're learning a little more independence, all right? And they're gaining a little bit more. They're learning how to read on their own. So encourage them to have their own personal devotion time. But still keep your conversations about faith or of faith public. Just because they're having personal time off to the side doesn't mean that you have to say, oh, we don't need to talk about it anymore. They did it personally. Let's also keep it public and talk to each other about what God's doing out of those personal devotion times and still in our everyday activities. All right, some other great ways for example, of leading that faith conversation, keeping it public. Here's some examples to keep that faith conversation public, even in this elementary stage of your kids. Ask each other, how can I pray for you this week? There's a really quick tip and trick. Another one is, what's something you've read in the Bible recently that stood out to you? Another great follow-up question to keep those faith conversations public. Another one is, what do you think is the wisest choice in this situation? All right, that's a great another lead into let them investigate. Let them think through what God's been speaking to them about. All right, and then also another good question is, if you were them, how do you think you would want to be treated? Great follow-up question for those times where you got to do a little discipline or a little training, is ask them, well, if you were in their shoes, how would you want to be treated? All right, how do you think you would want to have that happen to you? All right, and last but not least, another great tip and trick, a little one-liner, a little idea to investigate or provoke investigation and imagination in your elementary kids is this: share your own story of faith. All right, share how you began your relationship with God. Share how God has wired you and share how you connect with God. Though I remember as a kid, I would always ask my dad before bed, "Hey, tell me about it. Tell me, what were you like as a kid?" I'm sure you guys have got those questions too as parents and guardians. There's something about a kid where they start to imagine what you were like as a child. Same thing, they start to imagine, how do you interact with God? What does God speak to you about? And being vulnerable with them and letting them hear how God has wired you and how you connect with God and sharing your story of faith, it really empowers them to continue on their journey with God as well. Now, that's kind of an unstructured, everyday, just off the cuff way to have faith conversations, but there's another way you can have faith conversations, and that is through having a structured or a planned family devotion. All right? And so for tips and tricks on how to do a family devotion, let's go to a real couple that's been doing it for a while, and let's hear from them. So here we go.
Hello, Mr. Adam and Miss Amber Darba. So glad you guys could join us, and excited to hear about your devotions as a family and what you guys do as spiritual leaders of your family and input and influence in your kids' lives. So just a little bit about you first from what I know. You guys are part of our church family, great family yourself, and foster parents as well, and just knocking it out of the park, even though you may not feel like it at times, but I would say you are. So go ahead, just let us get to know you guys a little bit. Tell us a little bit about yourself, married, how long, kids, how you met, all that jazz.
Okay. Well, we've been married for 20 years this year.
Nice.
We have 5 children. Obviously, we have 3 biological children. Keely, which is graduating high school and early college this year. Kinsey, which is a freshman, and Caleb, he is a 8th grader. And then we have twin boys that we adopted, and Elijah and Isaiah, and they're both 8. Will be 9 in July.
Okay. So do you have someone that kind of out of teenage year phase? Or like Correct. You got the teenagers and you got the elementary phase in your home, Correct. Right?
Yes. Mm-hmm. And think they're an adult phase.
Yeah, they want to be an adult phase, but their mental capacity isn't yet. Yes.
Correct.
How did you guys, what's your story? How did you guys meet as a couple? You've been married 20 years. What brought Adam and Amber together?
We met in college in Indiana. We lived in Indiana at the time. He actually went to Purdue and I went to IU, and we were rivals. Oh. And his ex-girlfriend was my best friend.
Okay. So you poached him.
Kind of.
It was just a way for us to connect. That's how we connected. Mm-hmm. So
I didn't know you guys were Midwesterners. I'm an Iowa boy. So
yes.
I actually studied the state of Indiana in 4th grade, and when I came of age to drive, we were going all the way to Cedar Point in Ohio. Mm-hmm. And so my dad let me drive the whole leg across northern Indiana because I wanted to, because great state.
And you saw cornfields.
Yeah, but hey, what else? I was used to that.
Exactly.
That's right.
So, then since you guys started this phase as parents, not just married couples, but parents, how has parenting changed you all?
It made us obviously be more responsible, not thinking of just me, her and I, about the kids and what their futures are going to be, and trying to raise them the way we were raised, and then also the way we really want them to be raised. Yeah. It changed a lot. A lot of things change, as you know. A lot of things change when you're a parent. Yeah. And some things are harder to get used to, and some things are blessings too. So, all in all, it's good. And we're, when we adopted the boys, basically our parenting just prolonged itself. So.
But our parenting was also challenged in Correct. New ways that with our biological children never existed. So it has stretched mm-hmm. us, and it has been extremely rewarding, and it has strengthened us, I think, and strengthened our bonds with our children, all of them, mm-hmm. because we have to parent all 5 of our children differently.
Yeah. Gosh. Yeah, talk about wearing lots of hats. That's right. We're talking about how parents have to wear so many hats, and you guys have another one of just having a different dynamic of having adopted kids and foster kids. So yeah, you're right. Mm-hmm. Well, quick question. So in a brief conversation I had with you, Amber, you had shared how you're leading and doing family devotions together. So I kind of wanted to dive into that subject and hear how you guys are doing it. Because honestly, for myself, I'll just be honest, family devotions is still one of those things I'm still trying to figure out with my kids, young kids. Like, what does it look like? What do we do in that time? What time of day? So I want to pick your guys' brain. You're a little more experienced, and obviously you got a few more kids than I do. But before we jump to the details of a family devo, kind of start with what was your motivation about why you wanted to do family devotions? You alluded to a little bit earlier, but dive into that. Basically,
our values. I feel like we know we need to instill in them, trust Jesus first, and go there first. And so we just decided that we were going to, they were not in school any longer, so we were going to make that a priority at home first and foremost.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And as parents, I mean, you have the greatest influence on your kids' lives, and so why not take advantage of that, so to speak?
Right. And we would have done it before the shutdown, I think, but time is always a factor with 5 children, and them being in after school things, or just the logistics of 5 children. Mm-hmm. is crazy itself. So we never put a priority on it. It was always there, but wasn't a priority. But now we've made it a priority.
Yeah.
Every single day.
So what does your typical family devotion look like when it does happen? You know, when there is that moment, you can kind of set aside, what does that look like? What do you do in that time? You know, give us a little snippet. How long does it last? Give us a little picture of what that looks like in your home.
So we have basically two kind of things we do. You asked about family devotion. So family devotion, what we use is the Bible Project, which is on YouTube. There's probably 30 or 40 videos, kind of short clip videos that are animated. So it's adults can read it and understand it very easily, but also kids can understand it. So you can use it as a family, family time together. And then basically it takes we're basically going in order of what the writers are telling us to do. So it goes from different books of the Bible, and it'll kind of go back and it'll explain different parts of the Bible, like holiness and different things. And they make it very short. So usually they're less than 10 minutes, and they just take the main parts of each thing they're going to talk about, and they talk about those things, and then that way you can comprehend it and understand it. So that's what we do. We basically, on a Sunday, usually afternoon or usually Sunday, we'll, after church, we'll sit down, we'll watch all this stuff, maybe 2 or 3 videos. We'll talk about each one after it. As a family, we all sit around the couch, we talk about it, and then if there's any questions or whatever, we answer those. Anything else we need to go further, we'll talk about that. But other than that, that's our family devotional.
And the kids have their Bibles with them during that time, so if they want to reference anything, their own devotions, they each have those as well. And those start first thing in the morning when everyone gets up for breakfast. Keely will sit at the island with the twins, and everybody has their devotions out. And they're reading. And while they're doing that, I'll sit and do mine with them as well. The other 2 kids, when they get up, whenever that is at this time, they will do theirs as well. And I've done age appropriate devotions for them.
Yeah. Now because there are a lot of great resources, video resources that you can put on, click and play. But if it doesn't come with questions to ask, how do you as parents kind of pick out what questions and what type of things you want to ask? Does that make sense?
Yes. Actually, the twins devotion is following the Bible Project. So a lot of the questions that they'll ask me on the mornings that they're doing their devotion, we can talk about, or if we have questions, we'll say, hey, what do you guys think about this? Kind of thing when we're watching the Bible Project. So normally it's just from discussion of, hey, I noticed this in one of the videos. What do you think about this?
Yeah. Well, I like that exact same question we are having as parents. Like they probably are having it too. They're people just like us, with the cognitive abilities just like us. So I like how you can just put it out on the table and talk about it, hash it out as a family. I like that. That's an easy way. So you don't have to feel the pressure of, what do I ask,
Right, because we don't know all the answers either, because we've been sitting there and learning and saying, wow, we didn't know that part of Genesis or whatever. I mean,
yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. That helps. So what are some of the challenges or hurdles that you guys have had in family devotions and starting that rhythm? What's some things that you've come across so that others watching this can kind of know those hurdles are coming and what you've learned?
Well, with 5 children, trying to get 5 children to sit still for just 5 minutes is sometimes not the easiest.
Yeah.
Especially, sometimes we try to do it on a Sunday morning, so some of the kids are not wanting to get up, or we just ate breakfast and they don't want to do it. They want to do something else. So we just tell them it's a priority and that's what we're going to do. But that's pretty much it, is just getting everybody to sit down. Once we get everybody sat down, keeping the twins sat down because they like to move around a lot. Yeah. But they are pretty good about watching a TV show and learning. Like they are pretty inquisitive. Yeah. But once you sit down and watch it, and then we go to the next one, usually they don't want to sit too long, but that's why the Bible Project made it so short. So it's easier to understand and it keeps your attention. So
And like I said, with their devotions, it's been easy because it's very age appropriate.
Yeah. So kind of keep it, if I'm hearing correctly, kind of know the challenge of nobody really wants to sit down for 20 minutes and hear a dialogue or a speech from their parents. But it sounds like it's a good strategy to mix it up, like have some things that are sitting, some things that are standing. As you said earlier, there's some discussion time where other siblings are talking. And just blanked. But yeah, no, and then the help with the like different, because you got a wide age range of kids too. So you got teenagers and then all the way to
well, I'm going to say the teenagers aren't 100% bought in.
Yeah.
Because it's not cool, right now as teenagers to sit with your parents and watch Bible videos. It's just not cool. But we've told them from the beginning that it's a priority and we're going to do it together. And after that, they're free to do whatever they want.
Yeah.
That's why we try to do it in the morning, devotionals and that in the morning, so that, 'cause that's our time to sit and eat breakfast and kind of chill a little bit anyway.
Yeah.
So we do it in the morning.
And then usually watch church. Yeah.
Watch church, do our devotionals, do all that stuff. And that way, then they have their entire rest of the day to do whatever they want to.
Yeah. So that's another solution right there. You just said is you find the time where they're already kind of a little more chill, a little more laid back anyway, and seizing that moment. That makes perfect sense.
Right.
Because I know my boy, he's pretty chill right after his nap or right after he woke up, but like right before bed, he's bouncing off the wall. So like there's definitely times where you don't have to get as frustrated.
Yes.
Right.
Exactly.
So what are, you mentioned the Bible Project. Are there any other resources like that the age appropriate devotions you found, Amber? Any other resources that you would recommend to families that are looking for stuff to do together or individually?
I have used before, like the school did their curriculum stuff, and then I've used the Right Now Media.
Yep.
I pull that up on the screen and the TV screen, and we watch that sometimes. Just depends on what I'm looking for.
Like Bible Man or VeggieTales, what program?
Yes.
Right Now Media.
Yes. Any of those things. Basically, I let the twins pick. Yeah. What do you want to watch today? If I pull it up, and they get to pick. So it's not normally the teenagers using it. It's normally just me and the twins trying to get through the day. But other than that, I mean, we use church. We watch Wednesdays and Saturdays and Sundays, and
and
we always have, if the TV is on in our house and it's not on TV, we're listening to worship music, because I just think praise is our weapon right now.
Yeah, no, that's great. And I've also heard families that just have like a loop of the audio Bible playing as a resource too, just to instill that love of the Word of God, and it's just like seeping in subconsciously, and
I might need to do that.
Like especially when some books really will calm them down. Other books, might get them hyped up a little bit. But
yes.
Well, any other tips or tricks that you guys would recommend parents? Hey, just trying this, like just swallow the pill, try it. Any other tips and tricks to help that you guys have come across?
Be patient, which I don't have very much patience myself. Amber has a lot more than I do, but be patient. Be loving and understanding, because they're learning, and everybody's in a different environment, than we're used to. So just be patient and loving best you can.
Yeah.
I've also found that when everything started, I used to do all the cooking, and I decided to assign we have 5, so that's 5 days of the week.
Yeah.
Each kid a night to cook, and it has really helped all of us, I think, because obviously the 8-year-olds need help. So that's a special bonding time with them outside of just normal stuff.
Yeah.
So I always use that. We'll talk about, what they read that day, or what their devotion was that day, or just little stuff, just connection.
And it reminds me of Sparks. Another thing I've heard about, like when it comes to teaching boys, they learn with. Like,
oh yes,
they watching and
they're not a sit down and listen to a lecture. They're, hey, let's do dishes together and let's talk about our day. Hey, let's go out and throw a ball and let's talk about what happened today. Like that's a great example of how you can Yeah,
the boys' devotions too are for boys. Mm-hmm. The little boys. It's for boys. So it's perfect because it's not sitting there reading all the time. It's, hey, how do you think the ark was built? Maybe get some wood and try to figure something out, which is not always good because I found them in the garage with nails the other day. But it's definitely not sit down and read this and try to process it. So it's been very good for them.
Yeah, it's really actually I'm talking about in this session, it's really with that elementary age is provoking discovery, like that they want to go get hands-on with the designs that God has all around them and within them. And so that's cool. What is that devotion called? I might need to look this up.
It's 365 for boys or something.
Okay.
I can text it to you later.
Yeah.
We can get it to you.
Yeah, I was curious, or because I've also heard of another one called Hands-On Bible, and they had some stuff too. So I was wondering for that, but yeah, I'll look that up. And
I've seen that one too.
I'll see if I can find it and put it in the link to this video as well. The devotion you have.
The kids are doing one about identity from Priscilla Shriver, and Caleb has a teen boy, and the girls have teen girls.
Oh, okay.
So it's been pretty good too.
Yeah. Send me that one too. I'll put it in a link to that in case parents did that and like, oh, that'd be a great thing to try. But the last one, just kind of from the hip, I was just thinking about this. But what's something you guys have enjoyed from family devotion? We talked about challenges and all the that and the frustrations and how but what's something you guys have enjoyed from that time?
I enjoy twins, actually all the kids, just sitting down and focusing on something like the Bible and Jesus and God. Because with everything that we have going on, like she said, with 5 kids, there's no stopping. There's not really a stopping point. With the kids in sports and working and all these different things, there's always something going on. So this time actually gives us time. And then also they can sit and chill and focus on some of that stuff. So that's some good things about it.
Yeah.
I definitely think we'll continue this after because it has proven to be such a connecting thing for all of us.
Yeah, that's the hope. Start a rhythm and it keeps going.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yep. And well, very good. Well, thank you guys so much. I've loved your input. Loved your help with this. And I just really appreciate your wisdom and just sharing your life experiences with us. So thank you so much.
No problem.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you all for joining us for another Power Hour. I hope it was empowering for you in wearing this hat comfortably, being the spiritual leader in your home, just by starting small, having faith conversations in your everyday, and also giving you some tips and tricks to jumpstarting or continuing a structured and planned family devotion for your home. And so today, all the things that we referenced, all the resources we talked about, the things that were mentioned in this, and for more about this topic, just click on the link in this post. You can click on those links. I'll take you to some amazing resources you can put in your Bible, put on your bathroom mirror, in your fridge, wherever you'll remember. And then last but not least, let us know. Give us some comments. You can feel free to comment, type in tips and tricks that you have found in wearing this hat comfortably of being the spiritual leader in your home. All right, I love to hear those things and those suggestions and tips and tricks that you have found as well, parents and guardians. Well, until next time, go in power, and we'll see you later.